Hello, everybody. My name is Jose Paredes, and I will be in the beginning part of this presentation that will be over the dark side of relationships. Now, this presentation was done by Alyssa Rogers, Reese Cross, myself, Cassidy Dotson, and Mackenzie Fox. Now, the main focus for this presentation and its team is to give information about how lying, infidelity, and anger can hurt a relationship's trust between the people involved. As adults, we have all been part of a relationship, whether it be a friendship, family, platonic, or just a romantic relationship. Now, in these relationships, apologies, there can be problems which we are considering to be part of the dark side of the relationship. We will also relay information on what else is considered part of the dark side of relationships. Now, credibility is very important, and I understand that there is some skepticism in the beginning of this. However, please understand that we are all college students and at some point have taken or are taking a class in which revolves around communication and learning about its importance in relationships. In other words, we have been tested and are expected to be able to give information about it. To start off this presentation, the team will be defining the dark side of relationships and will be given examples on what is considered to be part dark in those relationships and how they are used in context. I hope you enjoy this presentation. We'll be seeing you soon. Thank you.
Thank you for the introduction. My name is Alyssa Rogers, and I'm going to be explaining what the dark side of a relationship is. So, Chapter 7.6 of the textbook claims that there are two dimensions of the dark side of relationships. One, the degree to which something is deemed acceptable by society, and two, the degree to which something functions productively to improve a relationship or not. Oftentimes, it is hard to identify a toxic relationship because understanding that a relationship or a partner in the relationship is toxic can be harmful to the relationship itself. So we often say that ignorance is bliss in relationships because if we don't identify the problem, we don't have to deal with the problem. Lying is one way that we often tend to protect a relationship or a person in the relationship. This can often feel like the person who is lying is not being fair to the other person, but when we lie to protect, it can often feel more fulfilling to the relationship. Some people do feel different about this, though. 27% of people believe that honesty is the best policy in relationship, and that lying is not acceptable in relationships and that it does not get you anywhere. But those who do believe in lying in the relationship believe in what is called an altruistic lie. An altruistic lie is a lie that is essentially used to better the relationship. So an example of this would be telling your mom that her home-cooked meal is so good and delicious, but inside you believe that that was not a good meal and that it could have been 10 times better. So later on in relationships, we often tend to change the way that we lie. We avoid communicating about certain topics so that we don't even have to lie or build onto the lies that we've already given before. So discovering that your partner is lying to you can often take an emotional toll on you or on an individual, and so then we tend to seek revenge on that person who has lied to us, and one way that we seek revenge in particular is cheating.
My name is Mackenzie Fox, and I'm going to be talking about the cheating, anger, and aggression behind the dark sides of relationships. So, cheating is often found in two main forms, including emotional and physical. Emotional cheating has three different categories, including object, cyber, and emotional affairs. An object affair is pursuing an interest outside of a relationship that becomes overpowering and leads to neglecting their relationship. A cyber affair comes in many forms, such as sexting, texting, chatting, or video chatting with a sexual context behind a spouse's back. An emotional affair is a form of affair that happens when an individual becomes emotionally attached to somebody who is not their spouse. Physically cheating only has one form, which is in a sexual affair. This occurs when an individual is sexually involved with another individual outside of their marriage. Physical cheating is the most common form of cheating. This form of cheating is triggered mainly by jealousy, unfulfilled sexual desires, or revenge. Often, when an individual is caught cheating, they tend to blame their partner. For an example, if Abby hangs out with her friend one night, which leaves her boyfriend Kyle alone at the house, he then cheats on Abby and says that if Abby had hung out with him, he would not have cheated. In relationships, anger can result from many things, including cheating, lying, or personal issues, which is damaging to a relationship. Anger and aggression can often result in physical or emotional abuse within a relationship. Abuse can be a factor in many types of relationships, whether they are romantic, friendly, or family relations. Intimate partner violence, also known as IPV, is defined by the textbook as physical, verbal, or emotional violence that occurs between two people who are in or were recently in a romantic relationship. IPV, the CDC has reported that approximately 1 in 4 women and nearly 1 in 10 men have experienced this form of violence in an intimate relation. Psychological aggression. The CDC has also reported that more than 43 million women and 38 million men experience this by an intimate partner in their lifetime. Child abuse is a type of interpersonal violence resulting from anger and aggression within a family or friendly relation. Our textbook stated that 46% of children had been physically abused within the past month, which highlights that this is an increasing problem in the United States. Communicative aggression is defined by the textbook as recurring verbal or nonverbal communication that it significantly and negatively affects a person's sense of self. Examples include blaming, name calling, physically or emotionally withdrawing, and giving someone the cold shoulder. Oftentimes, we may not think we are exhibiting communicative aggression. This results in becoming unaware that the things we say can be impactful to someone's life. The words and names we speak over people can be held onto and kept in the memories of that person forever. There are many ways that relationships can be toxic, and one way we often see these relationships shown in plain sight are often on TV shows.
Thank you, Mackenzie. My name is Reese Krause. I will be talking about how we see toxic relationships often in TV shows, and the reason why this is important, and explaining how relationships can be dark. You could be with a partner for about 2 years, or you could just start dating them when you've like childhood best friends. That doesn't mean you'll be able to read each other's mind, or you'll know what they're thinking. You both need to have clear communication. Otherwise, partners start to lash out at each other, and they will have somewhat of a dark or very toxic relationship. One example of this is the communication between Walter White and Skylar White in the show Breaking Bad, because Skylar White sees a monster, but Walt still sees the woman he fell in love with, even though she cheated on him, and at times said terrible things to one another to hurt each other. For example, when Skylar said she was waiting for Walt's cancer to come back, and this is to hurt him when she tries to kick out the kids or kicks him out of the house. This is an example of how dark or toxic relationships start, because both decide to do things that would either try to hurt or aggravate one another. There are pros and cons of this communication style of being open. Pro, if both partners communicate properly, they will both be happy. There will be no conflict between the two. Con, if they don't do this, they will end up falling apart and break up. And that is all I have to say. The next person will be speaking is Cassidy on the conclusion.
Hi, my name is Cassidy Dotson, and as you can see, communication is super important in any kind of relationship that you're in. Today we discuss the dark side of relationships, what they are, who they affect, and why good communication skills with your friend, your partner, or just an acquaintance that you know is the best way to keep the relationship together. It can also help build a relationship and grow the individuals in that relationship, meaning there's going to be less emotional and physical harm between the two. Lying, infidelity, or even anger are just some of the ways that a relationship can become toxic to those involved. But as Bob Marley once said, truth is everybody that's going to hurt you. You just gotta find the ones worth suffering for. Thank you for listening to our speech.